Good morning and welcome to Coffee with Bob. Have you ever realized or known that God uses you to bless the lives of others, to be an answer to someone else's prayer? Now, I am not saying that if we don't agree to participate in ministry, that God will shun the needs of someone else. I'm saying that if we're open to listening to that small, still voice of God, then many times we will hear a call for us where we can be involved in the ministry to someone else. God doesn't need us, God's God, but God chooses to invite us to participate in that ministry, to bless the life of someone else, but also to bless our own. There were several years ago that I found myself really in a painful situation, and I remember there was about 1 or 2 weeks that I just really felt so down, and I kept praying and pouring my heart out to God, and then I felt inexplicably, I didn't have a reason for it. I just felt that the burden seemed lighter and I seemed better able to deal with it and get through it. It was a week or so after that point that I received a letter in the mail from some friends of mine that lived in a different part of the state. I would see them once or twice a year with church activities, and so I wasn't really close with them, and we really limited our conversations to those gatherings, church gatherings, where we would kind of bump into each other and we would sit and reminisce, and then we would look forward to the next gathering. Well, I received a letter in the mail from this couple, and they said that a couple weeks prior, that out of the blue, they felt God really placed my name on their hearts, and so they felt compelled to pray for me. And they prayed and prayed, and they said, "We don't ever need to know the reason. We just wanted you to know that we've been praying for you." Now, it corresponded with this time of my struggle, and also that time where I felt definitely lightened and refreshed. There will be times just like that we get to be a part of someone else's healing or blessing if we will listen to that voice of God. I'm so grateful that in their spiritual life, they were attuned to God's voice. Now, they didn't hear my name out loud, but they just were able to recognize that suddenly thoughts of me kept kind of coming up in discussion, and so they took that opportunity to begin praying for me. And they prayed for this 2-week period. I was able to fill in the rest of the story after I read their letter. But I want you to think about that for a second. Haven't you ever had a moment where out of the blue, someone's name comes to mind? And you're even kind of surprised. Well, I haven't thought about that person in the longest time. And you can't think of a reason why they just popped up in your memory. Well, why not take that opportunity to pray for them? Now, probably they're not going through anything tragic, but why not pray for them? What have you got to lose? To ask God to be with that person who came to mind in a special way. I think if you will respond to those kind of moments, there will be times that you realize that God was using you as a part of the answer to someone else's prayer, to someone else's need. You have received healing and blessing and incredible love from God. And God wants to use you to pass that on to someone else. And so I want to encourage you for those moments that someone comes to mind and it just feels odd. Why did I think of them all of a sudden? Take a moment, instead of wondering why you thought of them, take a moment and ask God to bless them, to strengthen them, to encourage them, and to refresh them. You may never know what that prayer meant to them, but you might not know what they're going through and how much it might be needed. You really have nothing to lose, and someone else has so much to gain. Answer those moments and answer them with prayer. I hope you have a great day today and know that God is watching over you. Take care.